Numerous workplace fires occur every year in the United States, resulting in injuries, fatalities, and significant property damage. As such, fire safety training is a critical component of overall workplace safety, ensuring you and your colleagues are well prepared to prevent and respond to fire emergencies. In this course, we are going to discuss key elements of fire safety in office environments, including understanding fire basics, identifying and addressing fire hazards, and fire emergency response. Before we dive into fire prevention and response, it's important that we understand some fire basics. By knowing what causes fires and the various types of fire classifications, we'll be better equipped to handle a range of fire-related emergencies in the office. First, let's discuss the fire triangle. The fire triangle is a useful model for understanding the three components required for a fire to ignite and sustain itself. These three components are fuel, oxygen, and heat. A fire can start and continue to burn so long as these three elements are present. Naturally, by removing any one of these elements, we can then extinguish a fire. Now, let's look at fire classification. Fires are grouped into 5 classifications based on the type of fuel involved. Understanding these classifications will help you determine the most appropriate method for extinguishing them. Class A fires are the most common fire classification. These fires involve common combustible materials such as wood, paper, and cloth. Water or dry chemical fire extinguishers are best suited for Class A fires. It's important to note here that only Class A fires should be put out with water, as water may pose additional risks if used to extinguish fires of other classifications. Class B fires are fueled by flammable liquids and gases like propane, oil, or gasoline. Class B fires can spread quickly and easily and should not be extinguished with water. They are best extinguished by smothering with a dry chemical extinguisher or removing oxygen with a CO2 extinguisher. It's important to note that Class B fires are distinct from grease or cooking fires, which are categorized separately. Class C fires involve electrical equipment such as computers, appliances, and electrical wiring. For Class C fires, it's important to use a fire extinguishing method that will not conduct electricity and create an electrocution risk. Therefore, water would again be an inappropriate choice. As such, Class C fires are best extinguished with dry chemical, CO2, or clean agent suppression. Class D fires involve combustible metals such as magnesium or potassium. These fires are likely less common in an office environment and require specialized extinguishing agents such as dry powder. Class K fires involve cooking oils and fats, typically found in kitchens. Class K fires also spread quickly and easily, and are easily made worse by adding water. As such, wet chemical extinguishers are more appropriate for these fires. Now, don't worry if memorizing all these classifications and fire extinguishing methods seems overwhelming. What's most important is that you understand these different classifications exist and that there are appropriate and inappropriate methods of extinguishing them. So if you do encounter a fire that you're authorized to extinguish, just be sure to check the labeling on the fire extinguishers to ensure that they're suitable for the type of fire you're dealing with. The labeling should clearly indicate the fire classifications that the extinguisher is designed to handle. In most offices, you'll find a multi-purpose ABC dry chemical fire extinguisher. These common fire extinguishers are suitable for extinguishing any fire from classes A, B, or C. Now that we understand some fire basics, let's look at a few common fire hazards in office settings. By learning how to identify and address or prevent these hazards, we can take proactive steps towards a safer office environment for ourselves and our colleagues. Some common fire hazards in offices include piles of paper and other combustible materials, overloaded circuits, space heaters, cooking equipment, and blocked or locked exits. Sometimes work piles up, literally, and we're left with stacks of invoices, applications, or other documents cluttering our workspace. However, these piles of combustible material pose a risk of starting fires or helping them spread more easily throughout the office, especially if left near electrical equipment or other heat sources. To avoid a fire risk, be sure to keep a clean and tidy workspace, especially before you leave for the day. Properly store your documents when not in use. Routinely discard any unneeded documents. And avoid stacking or disposing of paper near heat sources such as electrical outlets, heaters, and other office appliances. If we overload electrical sockets and extension cables, they can draw too much electricity and lead to overheating and fire. To avoid overloading, be sure to plug large appliances like copiers and coffee makers directly into an outlet. Do not plug multiple high wattage devices into a single extension cord. Do not daisy chain or connect multiple extension cords. Inspect power cords regularly for wear and tear. And immediately unplug or de-energize any equipment that causes smoke or a burning smell. Now, during the colder months, some employees may choose to use space heaters to warm a corner of the office or place at their feet. While convenient, space heaters pose a risk of overheating or igniting nearby combustible materials. Where possible, consider turning up your office's central heating rather than relying on higher risk personal heaters, which may also pose an electrical overload risk. If you or your colleagues do choose to use a space heater, be sure to follow all safe usage guidelines. Maintain a safe distance from combustible materials, typically 3 feet, and turn them off when not in use. According to a report from the National Fire Protection Association, up to a third of all office fires may be attributable to cooking equipment. Therefore, it's essential that we handle cooking equipment safely and responsibly. So remember to keep all cooking equipment in the kitchen, including coffee makers, hot pots, and other small cooking appliances. Never leave cooking equipment unattended while in use, and regularly replace any outdated or damaged cooking equipment. One less obvious fire hazard is a blocked or locked exit. While not a direct cause of a fire, blocked or locked exits can pose a significant risk of injury in the case of a fire emergency. As such, everyone in the office should do their part to maintain clear pathways to all exits, not blocking them with boxes, office equipment, or any tripping hazards, even temporarily. Keep all emergency exits unlocked at all times, and ensure proper exit signage is installed and clearly visible. Even if you've taken every precaution to address fire hazards, office fires can and do still happen. Therefore, it's just as important to implement a fire emergency response plan. Regular practice and familiarity with emergency response plans and equipment can save lives in a fire. In this section, we'll cover the basic elements of an emergency response plan and locating and using appropriate fire emergency equipment. Every office should have an emergency response plan in place that all employees are both familiar with and are capable of following. Your emergency response plan should cover the following requirements at minimum. The means of reporting fires and other emergencies section lets employees know how they should report fire and how they'll be alerted to different emergencies in the workplace. These alerts may include alarms, PA system announcements, or verbal announcements. Evacuation procedures and emergency escape route assignments establish who should evacuate under which emergency conditions and which routes they should take, whether to the nearest exit or an exit most appropriate for a particular type of emergency. These procedures should also designate which employees, if any, are authorized to use portable fire extinguishers to attempt to put out the fire before evacuating. The Critical Plant Operations section, if applicable, covers employees who maintain critical operations and any necessary procedures they must follow before evacuating. This section outlines which employees, if any, are responsible for rescue and medical duties, and maintains that they are trained and aware of their responsibilities in an emergency. The Accounting Procedures section covers how to track employees following an emergency evacuation. This includes specifying the designated assembly areas and assigning those responsible for accounting for each employee to ensure that everyone has been safely evacuated. The section on contact information should provide the names or job titles of those who can be contacted for any questions or more information about the emergency response plan. If you need assistance in developing an emergency response plan for your office, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, offers a helpful resource on their website called the Evacuation Plans and Procedures e-tool. This free tool provides a user-friendly, step-by-step process to guide you in creating a customized plan tailored to your workplace. And remember, an emergency response plan is effective only if it's regularly updated, well known to all employees, and practiced through regular fire drills. As part of your emergency response, you may be required to use a portable fire extinguisher or fire blanket to put out a fire. So let's briefly discuss each, their uses and functions. Portable fire extinguishers may be provided in your workplace to quickly put out small, manageable fires before they grow out of control. Not all employees are authorized to use portable fire extinguishers in an emergency. Familiarize yourself with your workplace's emergency response plan well ahead of time to know whether or not you're authorized to handle a fire extinguisher. If you are authorized to use a fire extinguisher, you should familiarize yourself with all locations and types of fire extinguishers in your workplace. They should be easily accessible and mounted on walls near potential fire hazards. As previously mentioned, there are 5 different classifications of fires, which are Class A, B, C, D, and K. It's important to ensure that you're using the correct type of fire extinguisher for the specific class of fire you're dealing with. Before using a fire extinguisher, always double-check the label to confirm that it's appropriate for the fire class in question. To use the fire extinguisher, follow the pass method. Pull the pin. This will break the tamper seal and allow you to operate the extinguisher. Aim at the base of the fire. Target the source of the flames rather than the flames themselves. Squeeze the handle. This will release the extinguishing agent from the extinguisher. And sweep from side to side. Move the nozzle in a sweeping motion to cover the entire base of the fire until it's extinguished. An alternative piece of equipment for extinguishing small fires is the fire blanket. Fire blankets are made of flame retardant material and can be used to smother very small fires or even wrap around a person whose clothing has caught on fire. Fire blankets should be stored in easily accessible locations near potential fire hazards. Similar to portable fire extinguishers, employees should also be trained on how to properly use a fire blanket. To use a fire blanket, unfold the blanket fully so that it can fully cover the fire. Protect your hands, either by wrapping the blanket around your hands, using protective gloves, or using the blanket's built-in hand pockets. Cover the fire completely, depriving it of oxygen. And finally, leave the blanket in place for at least 15 to 20 minutes to ensure the fire is fully extinguished. Remember, fire blankets are most effective for small fires. If the fire is too large or becomes unmanageable, evacuate the area immediately. following your workplace's emergency response plan. Fire safety is an essential aspect of maintaining a secure and protected office environment. By understanding the basics of fire prevention, identifying and addressing common fire hazards, and being prepared with a comprehensive emergency response plan, you can significantly reduce the risk of fires and minimize the damage and danger they may cause. To summarize, it's crucial to understand fire basics, including the fire triangle and fire classifications, to prevent and respond to various office fires. Be aware of common fire hazards in office settings, like piles of paper, overloaded circuits, space heaters, cooking equipment, and blocked or locked exits. Develop, implement, and regularly drill a comprehensive fire emergency response plan. And familiarize yourself with the proper usage of fire extinguishing equipment, like portable fire extinguishers and fire blankets. By taking these steps, you can contribute to a safer office environment for yourself and your colleagues, and be prepared to act swiftly and effectively in the event of a fire emergency. Remember, fire safety is a shared responsibility, and everyone plays a crucial role in maintaining a safe and secure workspace.